So in the call features section, this section is very important because it shows exactly how this small UC200 device from Openvox can effectively manage communication and the telephone system within the company. So we start with the IVR, or interactive voice response. It is an interactive response agent that can be configured. So as you can see, we can create an IVR, interactive voice response, and we can specify the language and several configurations that can be added. You can specify the prompt, which is the audio that can be recorded and placed here so that anyone calling this IVR, interactive voice response, will hear this audio. As you can see here, there are rules that can be specified. For example, if the person presses 0, what will the IVR, interactive voice response, do? For example, a person can route to an extension, for instance this extension, if they dial 0. For example, we can specify if the time has elapsed. So we can disconnect the call if, for example, the caller has entered an invalid number. What will happen next? They will hear the message repeated, and so on. Queues can also be created, and we can specify the strategy by which we will manage the queues. For example, ring all or random, etc. One can even specify the specific phone numbers that will receive the queues. In case of a failover, what will it do? So that's how it is. The ring group is also indeed very important because we can create groups. This way, we can effectively redirect all incoming calls to a group of agents. This way, we will reduce the wait time for customers because the agent who is available, or the group of agents, will receive the call at the same time, and thus the available agent will respond directly and quickly. So it's actually in order to significantly improve customer service. Conference, we can create conferences. And what is good here is that we can have moderators with passwords for participants, and we can even configure several other things, such as allowing participants to invite other people, thus configuring the members of the moderators, etc. This is very important as well. In the paging and intercom section, it is also very interesting because these features allow for the efficient broadcasting of announcements within the company. For example, if the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, wanted to announce an urgent meeting, he can use this feature. As you can see here, we have the type. It's paging or intercom. That is to say, paging is one way, meaning it operates in a single direction. That is, we can specify a group to which we want to broadcast the announcement. And there you go. It will be in one direction. That is to say, from the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, for example, to the marketing team, for example. And this way, their phone speaker will automatically activate and broadcast the announcement. If we choose intercom, it means that the group receiving the announcement will have their microphones automatically activated, allowing them to respond and interact with the person who announced the message. The auto-announcement feature allows the phone system to be configured to broadcast periodic announcements on certain days of the week. Allowing the phone system to be configured to broadcast periodic announcements on certain days of the week, such as Monday to Thursday, at a specific time, the desired message can be set to repeat. Files, audio, passwords, and other configurations can be added, but in principle, that is the goal. So, for the Follow Me and Find Me subsections, it allows us to create strategies to ensure a response for the client. For example, with Follow Me, for this extension, we can define a strategy, such as linear, and set numbers that will follow this extension if it has not answered within a time interval of 24 seconds, for example, or we can minimize that. We can even add other numbers, ensuring good quality of customer service. Speed tile, regarding the indicator, we can, for example, specify an extension and add a code. Now, instead of dialing this extension, we can just enter the code, and the phone system will automatically complete and route us to the extension you want. DISA, or the abbreviation for Direct Inward System Access, allows for the configuration of rules so that an agent can make calls even when they are outside the office, enabling them to access the phone system as if they were in the office, and make calls within allowable ranges that we can allow, such as right here. And this option is very interesting in case, for example, one has to be outside of the bike, or if one is an agent who falls ill, so they can continue to work from home, etc. The recap call aims to schedule calls or announcements, as here we can specifically add prompts, audio, or even reminders. So we can define the strategy, for example, every day, or we can modify it and customize it. It's very interesting. It's always in use cases like, for example, in hotels, which can schedule announcements or calls to, for instance, announce breakfast, the time for breakfast, etc. Thank you. In the secretary, this is where you can configure the rules for the secretary. For example, internal calls, if we wanted them to be redirected to the secretary, we can configure that. External calls can be configured and redirected to the secretary. Both can be set up at the same time. Announcement, its purpose is to configure announcements so that the caller can hear messages, such as, for example, information about whether the caller or customer is contacting us outside of business hours. We can provide information about business hours, announce promotions, for example, or even redirect them to an extension, etc. etc. Innovative formula. It is also interesting, especially in shared environments and call centers. This is where the agent can, for example, if they are not online, indicate that they are not available to answer calls, so they can log out. This way, the phone system knows that this agent is unavailable and will redirect calls to other agents. Call forwarding allows us to configure rules to redirect calls. For example, we can set it to always forward to the secretary in case there is no answer. Additionally, we can redirect calls to a specific phone number that we can specify. If we are also busy, we can specify a rule. And there is the contacts section where we can add the contacts. You can even import and export them. The largest stock of VoIP with dozens of brands. With us, you will find what fits your budget and needs. And most importantly, everything comes with a warranty on the equipment and installation.